Everyone, it's Jimmy here from My Online Guy on location. As you can see, not my normal studio backdrop, but I thought it'd be a really good time to catch up with you guys. No Frothy Friday this week. Actually, I'll wait for a few people to come on, but yeah, I'm on location today. I'm actually in New York. For those who are watching this, just like tuning in sporadically, you would know that I am based in Perth in Western Australia and not in New York. And yeah, today I'm coming from a hotel room on 48th Street and 48 and 5th, called 48 and 3rd, called 48 Hotel 48 Lex. And I'm on a trip with the AFL Coaches Association, and doing this leadership immersion experience where we go and interact with other sporting codes and organizations based here in New York. And then yeah, it's been really good. But yeah, I thought I would get on here and give you all an update on what's been happening. Like I said, no Frothy Friday, so apologies for that. So this is like a bit of a gift as opposed to the Frothy Friday. I'm going to talk a little bit about what's been happening with this trip, show you a couple of photos, and run you through a little bit of what's been happening on this end. So yeah, for those who have been sort of following along, you would know that I've gone on this trip, and essentially what this trip is something that's organised by the AFL, which is the Australian Football League here in Australia. And what they do is they send a few coaches over to the US to go and talk to different organisations based here. And these organisations are, Tennis Association, the US Tennis Association, like thought leaders, United Nations, things like that. So I found out about this trip through a good friend of mine, Pip. If you're watching, Pip, thanks for letting me know about this. I rang them up and asked if I can jump on this trip with them. And they said, yep, come along. We take a few business people. And I jumped on this trip with them. And so a few flights later, there was a whole nother debacle with the flight. So yeah, I'm going to start by saying I almost didn't make it on this trip, because what actually happened at the very start was got to New York, got to Manila, spent overnight in Manila, then flew out. And then what actually happened is I got to the airport in Japan, in Manila, and Japan Air. And they said, oh, you need your ESTA pass. And I was like, I don't have one of those. And luckily, Pauline had organized it, but we left the organization a little bit late on it. And what had actually happened is it hadn't been approved yet. And by the time I got, they basically, I waited around. They said, oh, you got 10, 15 minutes before you close this actual gate. And so I sat there probably stressing the most I've ever had in my life, actually. Stressing. And all of a sudden, they were literally about to close the check-in, and it came through. So I literally almost did not make it on this trip. But anyway, made it over here. And yeah, the first day was yesterday formally of the experience. And that was a pretty cruisy day because obviously people were jet lagged and stuff. But basically, got to meet the other people that are on this trip. And then we went to United Nations and met a gentleman named Chris King. And now Chris King's job in the United Nations is he heads up nuclear deproliferation. So basically, he heads up nuclear disarmament. And wow, what a incredibly entertaining and smart individual. So essentially, he was talking about his role in the United Nations and what he has to do. And then we started asking him questions about what his thoughts were on the Russia conflict, the Ukraine-Russia conflict. So we asked a few questions about that, as you do. What else we asked? Just all kinds of questions about how he sees, the question I asked him was does he feel there's actually a genuine threat of nuclear attack? And he said to me that, this time 2 years ago, that would have been a 0% chance. And he reckons that's gone up to a 1% chance now. And he said, yeah, the biggest concern the United Nations has right now is not necessarily Vladimir Putin pushing the button on nuclear weapon. It's actually a malfunction or an error or a cyber attack, someone causing a conflict through this. And then, he said he's been up for the last 2 days about this Polish issue where the missiles landed in Poland. But he was actually later this week jumping on a plane to fly to Russia to deliver a message on behalf of the United Nations. That's how high up this guy was in the United Nations. Anyway, we got a quick tour of the United Nations as well. So that was awesome. And then we actually went out for dinner afterwards, and that was good. So, and then we went to a cafe called Bluestone Lane Cafe, which is here in New York. It's run by an Aussie, by Nick Stone, for anyone that follows the footy, run by Nick Stone. He's got almost 50 of them now. I think he has like 38 of them. And we got a bit of a rundown on the cafe. Didn't get to meet him. He was out and about. G'day, Clint. So Clint's just dropped in. Thanks for dropping in, mate. Hopefully you're doing well. So he has a series of very successful cafes here in New York. And we got to experience that. It really looks like you step back into Melbourne and the cafe in Melbourne. So that was pretty cool. And then today was a really interesting experience. So today at 9 o'clock, we jumped on a train out to Flushing Meadows. Flushing Meadows, out to the US Tennis Association. And for those who don't follow tennis, the US Tennis Association has one major event, which is the US Open, which is one of the largest tennis events in the world. And then we went to the arena that they hold that in. Can't remember the name of the arena, but it's the largest tennis arena in the world. It holds 27,000 people in the main arena, and it's beyond enormous. Now, I think I can actually get a photo up of it if I can work out this technology. But yeah, we basically sat down with Craig and Amanda, and Craig Morrison. He's in charge of community development, so he's the head of community development. And then we had Amanda, who was in charge, who was a commercial director of the actual US Open. The pointy end of that, and some of the numbers that are involved in US sport is unreal. I don't have the numbers on me; they're on a sheet of paper in my bag. But they were saying that the US Open in 2 weeks brings in $180 million in a 2-week period. And that, 300 million if you include all the TV rights. So in a 2-week, so all they do is get ready for this 2-week period, which is the US Open, and they make $300 million in a 2-week period, and that funds all of the community tennis in the United States. That month, they take $80 million of it, and they put it towards community tennis. They take $15-20 million of it, put it towards player development, and then they do that. Oh, hello. This is live and real. It's good to finally be able to say thank you for supporting the channel. You have to let me know what your actual name is, but thank you for supporting the channel. So what team do I support in the footy? The Dockers. So the Freo Dockers. I'm not a hardcore fan, but I am very, actually I am a pretty hardcore supporter, just not, I don't get as much time to watch the footy. Clint, who's jumped in the chat here, he's a diehard Richmond supporter. So there's actually a couple of assistant coaches on this trip. We have Andrew McWalter, who played a few games, and he's the assistant coach at Richmond. And then we have Nathan Bassett, who played 200 games for Adelaide. And he now coaches, he's the assistant coach at Port Adelaide. So we've got a few assistant coaches. Got Ron Watts here, who was at 15 years at Geelong coaching. So yeah, there's a few footy people here and a few business people. But so the US Tennis Association was next level. We got a tour of the facilities, and we got the girlfriend experience tour, not just the standard tour. We basically started off, we sort of walked around the complex. Then we went into the female and male change rooms. And if you've won a US Open, you get your own permanent locker there. So you got Rafael Nadal, and it's got every one he's won. Leighton Hewitt was on there from 2001. You had, Murray, anyone that's won one was in there. Serena Williams had she needed 2 things. So that was really cool. Thank you so much, mate. Neville, good. I'm finally glad I found the name. Of course, mate. With supporters like yourself, I'm going to continue to just create content. Why I jumped on today. I couldn't do a Frothy Friday, but I thought, why not catch everyone up? Live vicariously through me on this trip. So yeah, we got the tour. We basically went around, and we got to go on court, and the on court was next level. That was a surreal experience. It's like a little bit like walking onto the MCG is the best way to sort of explain it. I remember when I was first joined the Navy, I did one of the Anzac Day tin shakes for the Navy, and I remember when I stepped foot onto the MCG and just realized how big the bloody place was like that's what this felt like for me. And I'm trying to find a photo. I'm going to see if I can bring it up. I don't know if it will work, but if I can, I will bring the photos up as I'm talking about it. But yeah, we did a big tour of the of US tennis, and that was really good. Got to see where the media centers are. Got to see, because they built it on where they did the World's Fair. So it's a really awesome organization, and they're really passionate over there. So we did that, come back, got some lunch, and then we headed out to the NBA headquarters. So the NBA headquarters is like 10 blocks from where we're staying. So we walked over there, and we got to meet Pat, who is basically in charge of, he had a super important role during COVID, and he was in charge of like the legislation in regards to the NBA and in regards to how the teams move through the NBA with COVID and stuff. And they were saying that the year 2021, they spent the NBA spent $130 million on testing players and support staff. That's just rat and PCR tests. Oh, geez. Yeah, they spent $130 million on rat and PCR tests because the players were getting tested three times a day. And then all the support staff was getting tested for a day or two, once or twice a day. But that was next level as well. That NBA headquarters is something else. Like, you walk in there and there's jerseys on the wall. So the US Tennis Association gave us a player towel. So this is like an actual US Open like player towel. These are worth like $100. But yeah, you can't, they're hard to get. So this is a player towel from the US Open. They gave us like a set of balls, like US Open balls. Got a US Open hat here somewhere. And then the NBA, we just happened to be there when they were doing these prints of shirts, but we got this limited print like vote shirt that they created. So I've got two of these shirts that are like from NBA headquarters. They literally just were dishing them out to the staff. But like a little, like, it's obviously for voting. They created it for that, and then got rid of it. So I got a couple of those shirts. The NBA, yeah, Rich, it was sick. Like, that was like a mecca for anyone that likes NBA. There was like paraphernalia and bits and pieces. They had a Michael Jordan shoe there. Like all the Guernsey, the home and away Guernseys, are like jerseys for the year, were all like pinned up and on the wall. So a little bit about the NBA. His job is to now help players support the doctors and staff with like players, make sure players are healthy, and make sure that the superstars of the game play as many games as they can, because they are a commercial enterprise. So like when a LeBron James doesn't play or a Kyron doesn't play, it has a tangible effect on the NBA. So he his job is to like question the teams and go, why isn't LeBron James playing this week, or why isn't X player playing this week? Because the NBA is about making money. So like when those guys aren't on the court shooting hoops, the NBA loses money. So they're actually if a team doesn't start a superstar and there's not a legitimate reason for it, they get fined hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's a money making enterprise. One of the things we learned a lot about was actually, I can bring up these photos now. I'll bring up a couple of photos as I'm talking. If I do this and go share my screen, I'll just share my window. Okay, let's just share this. I don't know if this is going to work. I'll just make these a little bit bigger. Yeah, it's so the NBA was really cool just to go into a place. they've got 10 floors of this building, and they're spread across it. So, here's a bit of the entrance as you walk in. Tell me, just one sec. Tell me if you can see this. If I go like this, yep, you should be able to see it. So, this is a bit of the entrance hall here. All the teams are up there. There's a whole bunch going on. There's, where are we? I'm not sure what this video is, but I got so much footage and so many videos. But yeah, so we went to the NBA headquarters. We had a good look at that. And then we went from there, got back, tried to get some work done. The hardest thing right now is I cannot get work done because it's, it's just jam-packed day. So came back here, got changed, threw a suit on. That's why I'm wearing my shirt. And then we went to the Australia Consulate General. I just got back from the Australian Consulate General. Got my little Australia name badge for it. The Consulate General's office. Now, the Consulate General's job is it's not the ambassador who has a diplomatic relation with the United States. He's kind of he's kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but his basically job is just to PR for Australia. Essentially, he's in Australia. He's there. So if foreign trade, if someone wants to try and develop that, he goes and tries to connect them all together. He acts as a chairperson. Kind of like a sunset role for a lifelong politician, and a previous Victorian premier is in there, and he that was super fancy. It's right on the water next to the United Nations, in this old building. The Australian government's had the same office, house, for 60 years, and there's all this Aboriginal artwork on the walls, and he had butlers and stuff, and basically it was a sit down silver spoon, silver fork meal. Super fancy, super fancy. The guy was really nice, and that was really interesting. He had quite interesting stories, but it was mainly just to catch up. A thank you from them. And then tomorrow, I don't have the itinerary behind me, but tomorrow we're going to meet a professional speaking coach who works with a lot of the United States organizations over here. And then we're meeting a person that works with Red Bull High Performance, which is a training situation. And then from there, we're going to meet the Chief Operations Officer of Sportsbet, which is a big betting organization over here. So another fun-filled day of action there. Then Saturday, I don't think we're doing much on Saturday. Then on Sunday, we're going to go see an NFL game. See, the problem was they wanted to book more sports to watch, but all the New York teams are playing away. Both NBA teams and both ice hockey teams are playing away at the moment. So the only game that's in town is the Giants. So we're going to do tailgate. We're going to have a tailgate party, and then we're going to go into the game and watch a game of NFL, which will be really cool. And then we're off to Philadelphia, and we're going to, we're going over there. We're going to meet US Rowing and go to Princeton, I think. I can't remember. There's so much on. I'm just playing it by ear and just winging it. But yeah, I just thought I'd give you guys all an update on what's been happening on this end. And, this trip was, to me, was sort of a way of, networking outside of the marketing space. I think it's super important to network. And sometimes it's nice to network outside of the circle of influence you have. So clearly, I'm out of my element here. There's business people, coaches, and it's all sports. So I'm out of my element, but sometimes that's a really good place to be because that's where all the growth happens, as I've sort of said in the channel. So I'm out of my element, but I'm really enjoying it. Missing the family a lot, but that comes with it. But yeah, I just thought I'd give you all an update. I'm super tired. It's almost midnight here. I'm super tired, but I thought I'd give you an update. And so there'll be no Frothy Friday today, but that's understandable. And then next week I'll get into a bit of a rhythm because I did pack my portable mic and my webcam and stuff. It's just timing wise, I didn't have any chance to collate any of the questions. So, I mean, before I go, does anyone have any questions they want me to answer? Marketing questions or anything? This can be a little bit of an impromptu one if you guys have any. If you want to learn a little bit more about anything, if you got any questions for anyone that you'd like me to answer, get answered, let me know. I'm here for you guys as much as I'm here for myself. So yeah. Also, if you want me, I've teed up for to do a couple of like mentoring Mondays with people. Just be patient. I can't, obviously, it's a bit hard to do it logistically while I'm out on the road and everything like that. But if you are patient, I will get to you, because the response to the Mentoring Monday segment has been really good. So we're going to continue to do that, Frothy Fridays, and then the content during the week. Hopefully everyone's enjoying that. But yeah, I suppose if no one's got any questions, I might end this now and go to bed. But yeah, love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting me, supporting the channel, supporting the agency, supporting the team that's working hard to cover me while I'm away. It's obviously really important to me, especially because I'm away, and during the day I can't really do much. But yeah, everyone that's been sort of helping the YouTube channel grow, Neville, yourself, there's two-piece John Jones, Najilin. You all appreciate all the support you guys are giving me, because it takes a lot of effort and time to produce content like this. Like I said, everyone else is out partying. I'm just here catching up a bit of work and getting support, like keeping you guys in the loop. So every time I get a comment on YouTube or a subscriber, it sort of starts to validate that there's a need for this kind of content, something that's a little bit more down to earth and practical. So I'm going to continue to do that while you guys are enjoying it still. So yeah, I think I'll finish up now. Maybe what I'll do in the mornings is I'll let everyone know who I'm meeting, and then if you have any questions that you'd like me to ask them, let me know and I'll ask them and report back on a live. But guys, thanks so much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day. For a lot of you, nights, evenings, mornings, wherever you are, enjoy the rest of it. And yeah, just let us know if there's anything you'd like me to ask anyone. You too. Thank you so much. Thanks for it's a night here, but I'm gonna have a nice night. Thanks for watching.